Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 2 matches remaining here at the group stage of the Charlotte Major. And the best part is both of them matter as well here. Cyclops and XSET is up on deck first, and following that, we are going to have Cyclops go up against Furia to decide the final stats inside of this group. All 3 teams still have a possibility to make it through into the playoffs. There's a very confusing amount of potentialities to come out of this, so we're going to try to guide you through this a little bit, starting and focusing entirely on just this first game that we have here between Cyclops as well as XSET, which is going to be our first matchup here. Now, the important note for Cyclops, in order for them to make it, they need to win both of these games inside of regulation, and they cannot lose more than 6 rounds between both maps. So they can lose, like for instance, 3 on this one, 3 on the next one. That's okay, but if they lose any more than that, they will be out of the running due to round differential. So that's what they're going to be looking for here. XSET just needs a win. Theirs is a little bit easier. They win this game through any circumstances, whether it's inside of overtime or regulation, they will get the spot, and our second game, unfortunately, will not have as many playoff contentions coming into it there. So that's going to be the focus for this first match. We'll talk a little bit more about Furia's chances when we get to their game. Big shout out, by the way, to SPRABUNI, Sprout Bunny on Twitter, for giving a really great graphic that broke all of that down and made it a lot easier for me to explain it to you guys as well.
Oh, good on you for shouting him out as well. That's awesome, man. But yeah, extremely exciting stuff here between Cyclops and an XSET that we're set up for. I'm extremely excited that we finally get to cast Cyclops as well, one of my favorite teams out of Japan, so it should be some exciting stuff. I'm hoping for some drop shot Monty action, but we'll have to see.
Absolutely the case. So let's start talking about both of these teams here too. Cyclops at the moment with the edge over XSET from their previous matchup there, and quite the heavy-handed one too. So I would say personally Cyclops' odds to take this one are looking pretty good. I think it was like 7-4 if I remember correctly, possibly 7-3. I don't remember having it up in front of me a few seconds ago, but either way, Stokes I think is going to pull it up for us here in a second and break it down a bit more specifically, since he's the man with the mobile tablet right now. I'm keeping mine reserved for these tiebreaker contentions. But meanwhile, we'll talk a little bit more about XSET here. Once again, some of their players and what they've accomplished so far. For me, a little bit disappointed with what we've seen at XSET so far. I thought they were going to be in line with Astralis for the type of contention we'd be seeing. Maybe it's a bit of a tougher group. Maybe they're having trouble adjusting to playing on the international stage. I don't know what it is yet. They're still okay, though. Here's the thing. They're still having the best odds out of all 3 of these teams, from what I can tell, at least from that graphic, to make it through into the playoffs.
Absolutely the case, my friend. Now, the big thing about XSET to mention is that DS Lucas has been having a heck of a tournament so far. 1.32 up until this point for him.
Here's
Kino also following through as well with a 1.14. And again, shout out to you for making this up. Do you still have their name up, John? Give them another shout out for this.
Big shout out to @SPRABUNI on Twitter for creating this graphic for us. We've now incorporated it into the broadcast. It looks like a lot, but again, if you break it down, the focus here for our match on the left side, which is the one we're currently playing, for CAG, they need to win this one, and overall, between this match and the final one, they need to lose no more than 6 rounds. For XSET, as you can see on the bottom 2 lines there, they just need a win here, and they will lock in their position. And you can see how Furia's playoff contentions play into their game as well. Should this one go into the hands of Cyclops, and they still leave a window open for their opponents to take it in the next game.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Blue, with your PhD in graphics reading. We greatly appreciate you breaking that down. But now, the stage is set for XSET and Cyclops. Let's start talking about what happened previously in between these two. It was a match on Clubhouse. It was 7-4 fashion in favor of Cyclops, and they had a heck of a game, actually, one of the best ones that they had at this tournament. Topped off with Aniton with a 1.54, 14-6 with a KPR of a 1.27. That is dastardly, and it's followed up by a 1.18 by Iagator, and he went 13-6. So Cyclops, they know how to play up against XSET. It's about to be, what can XSET possibly produce up against Cyclops? And really, we have to figure out what battleground we're going to first.
Absolutely the case. We'll be taking a look at that in just a second. But breaking down again that performance we saw out of the Cyclops roster, you can see they are here and they are loud as well. Cyclops looking to make their mark in North America yet again as they try to prove themselves. One of, if not, I think the last team from APAC in this tournament at this point that has yet to have been knocked out. So we will have to see if they can carry the torch forward for their region, or if unfortunately the entire one will find themselves going home here in the group stage. Either way though, XSET sits on the other side. side of it. A little bit of a disappointing run from some of the highlight players, Kino especially, in the most recent match they played against Cyclops. So hopefully he's going to be a little bit more up to snuff inside of that matchup there, as we know he's a big piece of the fragging puzzle when it comes to this roster. Absolutely.
XSET has been such a dynamic team throughout most of the NAL. We touched on them the first time that we ended up commentating them, and it's really been a pretty cool show to watch, especially given the history of what happened with this team. They started the stage by not really performing all too well inside of the first two games, dropping both of those, and then Spirits gets a hold of the reins and runs away with the IGL position, propelling XSET not only to almost first inside of the NAL, but also to the Charlotte Major, where we're going to see their last series right now. And it's going to be on Bank, of all maps.
Yeah, Bank, honestly, I think is, in my opinion, the perfect map to truly test XSET here. See, are they worthy of moving forward with the more superior standings in the group here and having the easier path out of just truly needing to win in this matchup here? Why is that? Cyclops had some really inventive play on Bank back at SI, and I'm imagining they're going to be carrying more of that into this matchup as well here. We were seeing some insane things like late elevator hatch drops into these basement attacks alongside a few other very bold strategies, but this is alongside, again, a note I've talked about with Cyclops before. Very contained, very straightforward siege that they can also play into from time to time as a structured squad. Either way, folks, we've got to decide which of these three teams is going to move forward, and XSET have their opportunity to lock it in now. So let's see if they can get it done, or if Cyclops keep their own hopes alive, as we're going to see the first ban come in from XSET.
Well, you already know why I'm laughing. Well, Monty going to be removed from Cyclops' arsenal. Don't want to see Anaton getting too feisty, so they're going to remove that from him. And hopefully, with the Ying band coming in, Cyclops can do more of the same to XSET. Now onto the defensive bans, though, and also a pretty cool thing I wanted to notate here on Bank. It is actually officially our most played map here at LAN. It was tied up with Clubhouse there at 7 picks, and this is going to push it over to 8.
So Bank becoming the new king of Siege maps here in Pro Play, at least as far as an international turf is concerned. Curious to see if that continues on into the playoffs, too. Our bans, though, making perfect sense now that they do line themselves up for the defensive side as well. Cade getting knocked out there, just a little bit too troublesome to deal with there. Don't want teams being forced on the Maverick play, so they'll get rid of that, so they won't have to worry about hatches being locked out. And then aside from that, of course, Valkyrie, because she's just far too annoying on this map still.
Yes, indeed. Valkyrie's annoying across a myriad of different maps, honestly. Those cameras can make or break a round, honestly, at the end of the day. Also, that Kaid ban coming through, just to make sure that they don't have to work Thatcher into their lineup every single time on offense. It'll actually be helpful to both teams for that. But enough said about those. We're into the series now. We're already going to have some attacker repicks here from CAG. They show face onto the Doke, as well as the Osa and the Habana, but they're going to shift these over to Nook, Flores, and Ace.
Away from that, what else may come of these switch-ups here? Actually, some of them are going to get reversed, it looks like. Now they see that we are going for a basement attack after all, so never mind on what Stone was just mentioning there. It's all been canceled out here, along with the Yana and Finka still staying on their original locks, and just as I say that, it gets changed again. Looks like we are going to get a Jackal Tracker coming out onto Black Ray specifically to try and isolate out some of this extended pressure from XSET if it sticks around up here. Looking like it's going to be the case. They've already pre-popped a few of those hatches. You can see the rotate in the tellers as well. They want to mess around with things on the upper floors and try to waste the time away from Cyclops a little bit.
Absolutely, and that attacker repick coming through and helping that out quite handily. Something you couldn't do 6 months ago, but now you can use those drones early to see exactly what your opponent's doing and adjust your lineup accordingly. That's where we're going to have that Jackal come in. Spirits is going to be upstairs and adding more and more footprints for Black Ray to be able to find. But as we know, the extended hold does work quite well here on Bank, so Cyclops could get punished if they end up trying to break this down in an incorrect manner. Spirits does have the E3 hatch open, so he can drop down into the next floor if necessary, as he doesn't have a single other XSET member inside of the area upstairs.
Away from that, Gatarada already starting out his lurk forward here, hiding himself from the cameras while he leaks through the lobby. He's now going to lose that capability as he moves up towards Tellers, but the good news is he has drone support to move forward, and what a beautiful hunt as he takes out Iaga, baits him into the open with a drone. He's got some problems, but he's able to correct him! A snapshot through the wall as he knocks out Spirits too. Gatarada already making massive impact just inside of this first round by knocking out 2 players from XSET and completely killing this roam game. I say that, but Diaz still going to stick around. He's desperately looking for that trade against Gatarada or another member of the Cyclops roster. Will he be able to get it? Yes, thankfully he will. Black Ray goes down, and XSET come back into this round just a little bit.
Well, Cyclops have a lot of time still to break this down, and DS trying to play this as strongly as he potentially can. Gonna drop back down into the basement here to try and assist his team from sight, holding on to open area. More than likely ill-advised given the firepower that Cyclops has and the potential for them to just walk over him inside of that area. So for XSET, they're going to play patiently downstairs and see what Cyclops' next move will be. They are still attempting to clear out this mid-floor with a little bit of verticality coming through as well for, I believe, the small office. Anaton will begin adding up things around the stairwell to see if somebody was jiggling at the bottom of the staircase and potentially able to get a kill off of that little swing. But past that, it's grown quiet across the board as Cyclops are starting to build themselves up and on a server take into a CCTV plant.
Already, CAG Cyclops opening things up to go for the potential OSOP plant here. First shield down on the ground. They do have a bonus one if this one gets taken out as well, and I see that getting taken down immediately. I think we actually just saw a misthrown impact potentially go down there too, so not necessarily a situation that they want to put themselves in. They want to make sure that those are being pocketed properly to be able to knock out both of these shields. An aid coming in from Colorado, though, so that might have actually been the explosion you heard a few seconds prior, as they make their first attempt to put the case down onto the ground, but it only lasts a split second before backing away. There was Toxic Babes, those charges continuing to roll and continuing to slow down the pace of play. I say that again, but despite that, Hyagator moving himself forward, now reviving a down teammate, and just in time, too. Colorado's going to be able to jump back up from the back of the vault here, take out yet another member of the XSET roster, and leave Gomez all on his own inside of gold here, playing against the 1v3. Couldn't even stop the plant because he had been pressed so far back. Does have some intel on at least one member rotating out from the interior depths of security, but look at just how far away these players are. So many heavy crosses against him. There's no escape. So Colorado picks up the final kill and shuts down the first round for Cyclops.
Very well done from the boys from Japan as they take down XSET in the first round in a pretty convincing way. XSET go for the roam game, but it's shut down by Gatorada practically after that beautiful shot that you just saw on your screen. Diaz able to reclaim one, but has to go back downstairs, and that's where we see it end as Cyclops are able to confirm their plant off the back of the OSA shields, and it's not impossible for XSET to try and deny. One round up for Cyclops at the moment. XSET going to start from the downward position.
Things beginning well here for our attackers as they show XSET that they might need to cool things off from an aggressive standpoint after this first round has finished off. Way too much aggression being sent out in the early round that's tracked quite easily by Cyclops, and on top of the solid Nook play that is built on some great droning to bait players out into the open. Cyclops are able to find massive impact from the very beginning of the round, although XSET give them a good fight for it. It's ultimately under their control as we get down to the bitter end of the round inside of that 3v1 there. Going to look to execute towards the same thing as XSET, of course, will still have some extensions deployed to the second floor here. We're going to see Spirits up on top along with a few other members trying to waste the time of Cyclops as they, of course, will want this hatch access to be able to appropriately attach or attack the open area site.
All right, now for Cyclops. It's going to be pretty hard fought here, although the Dokkaebi is going to be able to assist with a lot of this. Anaton also having the Thatcher, so that's going to make bottom square fairly a straightforward affair. Now, okay, though, we'll be upstairs with the remaining members of XSET that aren't on site, trying to hold things down for a time. Blackray will get tagged up by that Alibi clone, but that's going to get blown sky high momentarily as well. We'll be able to soon get rid of the castle barricade. Well, actually, no castle barricades this time around for XSET. So used to those being played inside of open area, so apologies about that. But has a soft barricade there, still blocking that angle that he just made with his Flores drone. So now Cyclops starting to look skyward and into XSET's top hold.
From that, the entire map is going to go very quiet for just a few moments here as Cyclops try to play into the intel game one more time. They do have pings to insinuate there's a player hiding out behind pillars, or that something is hiding out behind there, but as you guys can tell, nothing currently present there from the XSET side of things, so might just be a piece of utility or something else for Cyclops as they still go deeper to hunt for players hiding out on the inside of archives. There's a rotate hole here that Hyagator will catch as he works his way in, but he needs to pay closer attention to tellers. That's where the actual rotation is potentially coming in from XSET. They do have a player hiding out by main stairs right now. Aside from that, though, they are being left to their own devices currently in squares. The Cyclops will have that staging ground built up, but without, oh man, clearance on the upstairs hold, they won't really feel too secure about moving into the site from the square position.
Colorado gonna start backing off from garage as well, slowly but surely. Wants to make sure no XSET member can potentially swing out into garage and take him down. He'll keep his eyes trained on the ramp. But past that, Cyclops have taken their time here for round two. No aggressive front just yet, simply vying for square control and trying to hold on to the top of it. Spirits might have to challenge into this, but it could be a little risky depending on how this peak goes. True coin flip at the end of the day is now being confirmed inside of the area. Diaz will be up front side of the janitor closet, but Black Ray's actually going to hop off the outside balcony and try to work down stairs instead. With 15 minutes, or rather 50 seconds remaining, not 50 minutes, but 50 seconds. Yeah, right, that's a huge round. But past that, Gator and the rest of Cyclops have to get something done here. There really hasn't been too much action. Kino's gonna be the first one tagged up here, but again, minimal time, and Cyclops, well, they're starting to lose bodies.
It's also the problem for Cyclops right now. The intel game just isn't really seemingly getting the correct intel. There's been a couple of pings that don't really seem to be, okay, I'm just gonna shut up, because suddenly 3 kills come out for Cyclops out of absolutely nowhere. Spirits and Diaz are the only players left in the fight now, as Cyclops have suddenly opened up the free plant opportunity for themselves. Anderton will nearly be lost to the top square hold here as Diaz tries to go for a run out, and in the meanwhile, Spirits trying to play from the inside of this smoke. They'll lose it, but there's still a partial one faded away elsewhere here. He tries to pick up a kill, but it won't happen as Black Ray cleans up shop on both of the remaining players and secures a bit of a surprise round for Cyclops once everything is said and done.
A fantastic execution from them. Honestly, I thought XSET had that in the bag given the vertical control. I thought they'd be able to shut a couple of things down, but Cyclops, an overwhelming force there for round 2. We might see an early timeout here from XSET because, again, this match does mean quite a bit for them making it to the main stage.
Absolutely the case. Once again, there is possibilities for XSET to still make it, even if they don't end up in a winning position for this match. But we can talk more about that when we get to that point. Right now, to keep it simple, they just need a win, and they will make it forward here. With the way Cyclops is playing, that may prove to be quite the difficult task because they're looking to shut this one down. They're, I'm sure, aware of their own playoff contention and the fact they need to win these games in as clean of a fashion as possible. Rocketing this one up and getting something akin to a 7-3 or 7-2 would certainly help their case if they're going to be feeling just as confident against Furia right after this.
And Cyclops more than likely feeling the pressure of all of the APAC fans as well, as they are the last APAC representative standing here in Charlotte. Everybody else is traveling home soon enough. Cyclops still with an opportunity to make it to the main stage for the weekend and see all of you beautiful fans showing up here soon enough. 2,000 of you, in fact, which is going to be such an amazing time. Instead of that, XSET, though, need to try and pick up a round. Finally, they're headed back towards the basement. They're going to go for a roam game yet again. Castle will be along for the ride. So the Castle barricading a few separate windows just to try and close off a few of these angles that are pretty brutal when occupied. So to make things a little bit easier for Cyclops to navigate around this mid-floor.
All quiet for the most part, aside from just a few bit of reconstruction pieces being done here by the members of XSET across the map. And as well, Cyclops just starting to break things open for themselves in their initial clear. Very heavy on the drone work yet again, and gotta be careful here, Gomez. Hoping that he might have been able to wait this drone out and that he would have gone off of it and would have been able to stay somewhat obscure in that corner, but it's not going to work out this time. He does get spotted by the drone, so needs to change up his own position and fall back behind those mobile bookcases.
Cyclops, not a true entry to the building just yet. Gatorada going to be an Ash. Don't get to see her all that often any longer. He's going to have the G36C as the R4C has been kind of dead and gone for a while now. 1.5 on this thing with a solid angled grip and quick headshot or anything of the sort can definitely help you out. Also, the damage model of this thing's pretty good now. Has a 38 as well as the R4C having a 39, so not too far off. It's really the rate of fire that is the big change in between those guns. This one has about 100 less, if I do remember off the top of my head, but either way, Gatorada's going to have a lot of soft breach with this character, so he's going to be able to break up all of these walls as well as anything else inside of sight that requires an explosive piece of utility.
Colorado just hoping that someone from XSET would have taken the challenge on that and peek back out, but not to be the case here. They hold it back and wait the timer down. Gator really losing his life in that situation too. Thankfully has the adrenal surges as well as the 2 additional ones in his pocket, so assuming there's not any additional damage that goes on to him, he should be able to boost himself back up to around 70 or so HP once the cooldowns come up for the other 2 adrenal surge charges. Other than that, though, with only a minute remaining, this is going to start to get a little tight for time for Cyclops, but as we saw in the last round, that's not too much of a problem. As long as they can bait out the majority of the utility and avoid that pitfall, they seem to be able to handle even the roughest of fragging positions put in front of them. Spirits, though, finally winning out the first fight of this round at about 50 seconds as he takes down Black Ray, trying to push to the inside of Archives.
Oh, with only 40 seconds remaining, Kino still has one smoke, 2 nitro cells in the pocket of XSET members as well. Gator, he's still hunting on this mid floor. Anderton, he's got the shield set up, but he's dead and gone now. Yaga with a beautiful clack of the head. And now for Cyclops, they're down 2 men. They need some assistance and this plant. Suzuki tries for something, but he can't get it done. Gator now with nades will tag up Kino. Another one into Red Hall, but Spirits has made the flank and potentially the last kill. Got her out of peeks back through. Pistol out, tries for the hip fire, but Spirits, you gotta hop too. You gotta catch up to the man, and he will. Hunts him down for the flawless round, and XSET's on the board.
Bodega hyping the team up now as they finally bounce back into it in booming fashion with a flawless round there. Finally slowing down the aggressive play, not trying to outright take the fights against Cyclops inside of the early round, and are able to force them into a bunch of 1v1s, which realistically they were not able to close out as prominently that time, and therefore give them a much better advantage here, closing it down without a single player drop that time for XSET.
Beautiful round there from XSET, and that's what we expected initially out of the Rome game there. Try and keep Cyclops cornered in one part of the map, don't allow them to move too far forward, but Cyclops got way too much done in that initial round with the Nook. This time around, though, XSET prepared as they're going to bring Castle and barricade up a lot of things and make it a lot more difficult for Cyclops to try and clear out a lot of these XSET members, so they just eventually try and hit the site instead with the OSAS setup as well as Ash. They saw all the soft walls there as those reinforcements have been dedicated to other spaces around Bank just to make it easier yet again to try and hold on to things. That's what you want to do for your roam game. If you're just roaming with no utility and no reinforcements, then you're basically dead. Like there's really nothing else you can do unless, I don't know, you're playing ranked or something. Then you're probably not going to get droned right in the first place. So there you go.
The good news for Cyclops here is they are not a one-trick pony. As we can see, the strategy is already shifting from the first round's attempt. They will not be over-reliant on that Nook play in order to get their work done, and also more importantly, they have probably noticed the play coming in there with the additional hindrances such as the Banshees coming out from Yaga there to try and slow down that type of a clear. You're even going to see we'll put right in the middle of the lobby too to try to catch a Nook play should Cyclops had gone for it again. Obviously, you guys can see on the left side of your screen though, that is not the case. The operator lineup is looking for a little bit more direct play and focusing more on the site clear and team execute than it was last time.
Yes, indeed. Cyclops finally having a smudge on their record here on Bank. A hot ping coming out again here. Saw one a little bit earlier today, but again, you don't see him very often just because, you know, yellow pings are so prominent. But red pings can definitely force people to, like, you know, pull their vision other places as they look for cameras and things along those lines. I think that's exactly what Cyclops did here. He finally got the drone, but they got Gator inside of Conference. So might be a bleak end for an XSET member here momentarily. Another hot ping as he's running around frantically, but Gator's on his tail.
And he wins
Spirits! Oh no, Gator. You can't go out like that. You have everything, but Spirits apparently has the kitchen sink as he'll toss it back. XSET now with another pick here. Black Ray trying to pick up the pieces, trying to see if he can potentially find himself a Spirits on the top floor as he works his way into CEO, but obviously that skeleton key going to give up the goods as well. Lots of stuns in here. Black Ray, he's not paying attention to the corner. Spirits is getting away with too much. What is happening? Somebody kill this guy. Finally got her out of will, but what the hell was that?
Spirits, a 3-for-1 exchange, not to mention the minute and 40 seconds.
It looks like a war zone in checkers. Like, what did I just witness?
No, I mean, look at the utility, too. Everything except for the Flores drones have now been used. Anderton is the only utility this team has left. Obviously, Agataro's got a few breaching charges, but I'm going to be honest, they're not going to be much use here inside of the late game scenario. Only a single flashbang stacked on top of Anderton as well. So this is so rough. The only real benefit that Cyclops have playing into this scenario is time, realistically. Do have a bit to go back on drones, analyze the situation the XSET's throwing at them, and make sure they don't make any further mistakes. With that said, there's still a lot of work to be done, and now they've got to chase down this player that descended into the basement a few seconds ago. They don't have time for this, and they don't have the players for it now either. Yaga knocking down Gatorado, leaving only Anderton in the fight in a 1v4 here with 35 seconds to clutch it out. He'll take the top-down approach forward, look to knock out the player that's rotating from the basement back up through main stairs first, but such a complicated wrap to commit himself towards. He can see the crosses too, takes out the default camp. The player by Beeper should know where he is now going off of those tracers, but as he works himself back, it's going to be Kino with the peek and dash, runs up with the M590, says hello and goodbye with one pump of the shotgun, shutting down the round for XSET and tying us up now at 2-2.
The Lamborghini peak. You gotta love it. Got to love it with the M590. XSET tie things up here on Bank, and I think they're back to form. I think those first 2 rounds, a little bit of jitter, Cyclops able to take advantage, and now XSET, they're back to basics here. They're feeling themselves, and they're playing off of each other extremely well. Now, here's the thing. That last round was mostly the Spirits show. That was incredible what he produced inside of Checkers. That is going to be one of the clips that we go back to time and time again whenever we talk about Spirits.
The tertiary site. Oh, Kino, what are you doing, bro?
Did he just gun Gomez?
He just pumped Gomez in the back.
Well, you know what, John? I'm going to go over that subject, and I'm not going to say a single
he was
word.
just like an autopilot doing his setup there.
Yeah, so was Gomez, and he got bodied. So, I mean, maybe XSET is feeling themselves so much that he's gifted a kill over to Cyclops. You ever think about it that way, huh?
An unfortunate run, but definitely one that's going to cause XSET here.
They really said, yo, we're really sorry about Spirits. Here's a kill. Here's a kill. You guys should have had that first blood the last time, but...
Well, the worst part, too, is just the Warden. So it's like
it's
just all of his utility would have been safe for the actual round itself, and just all of that's now lost. So it's not even like it's Jaeger somewhere. At least you got an ADS or 2 on the ground to play with. These guys are going to have nothing now, and Gomez was supposed to be their player to take the fights when the actual execute came in.
This is actually the strategy so they can have Gomez on cameras the entire time. So they have to kill him, John, obviously. But past that, 30 seconds in here, Cyclops already adding fuel to the flames as Rotero drone will come in, but Anakin a little indecisive on what he wants to do with the dang thing. Back and forth he goes, but he can't find any utility that actually matters, so he just blows it up.
I mean, in some places, that's probably a good thing. So
yeah, I mean, I guess.
He's like, guys, there's no utility inside of Archives, so a little bit easier to execute in there if we want to go for that. But yeah, an unfortunate waste of the Flores drone. Still trying to get it into a good position to knock out some utility, but under these circumstances, it really just ends up working out as a normal drone, basically, with a limited time use on it. See, good pre-placements coming out in those drones while we talk a bit more about that from Cyclops here, trying to set themselves up, much like they were doing inside of the first and second round, really capitalize on the aggression if there's going to be any from XSET. XSET have put a great amount of control over this ever since those first 2 rounds have transpired and have slowed it down tremendously, normally forcing Cyclops to peak XSET, not the other way around where XSET was trying to surprise Cyclops and usually was failing from those first 2 plays.
Creeping forward now, obviously very aware that this site has been empty. The big thing about the Flores drone initially is, like, yes, you do have information, but information goes bad so quickly inside of Siege that they had to re-drone it, and that's what they've done. But the thing is that XSET haven't rotated back to site, so Black Ray's now just inside. He's living in their home. He's in their kitchen. He's doing whatever he wants to, using their bathroom. It really doesn't matter because there's not a camera or anything in here to stop him. He's going to be able to hold the rotate now for small office. If anybody tries for this, they're immediately dead. The ARX will more than likely body them. Gator trying to apply some pressure to get somebody to mislip, and they'll do exactly that, as Black Ray will claim a kill, frag grenade out to try and assist with the top floor, but nobody home on that end either.
Plan attempt going to come down here first off in the Flores as he tries to work that down onto the ground. Spirits trying to work his way down through the square steps in the meanwhile. He will down Gator, but unfortunately, Gator is on the Finca. She'll get right back up with that adrenal surge, and Spirits couldn't stay contested inside of that position due to the players that were going to be re-peeking him from the inside of Archives. Nice nades, though, coming in, and Anderton peeks right back out after Gator picks up that first kill. Diaz will now rotate in once again to his previous teammate's position over at top square, but there is no real positioning to play from at this point. Anderton works his way halfway up those stairs, knocks out the last member of XSET, and just like that, Cyclops are back in control now at 3-2.
I respect XSET for sticking to their defensive strategy, but as soon as they accidentally kill one of their teammates, they should definitely have adjusted some things and kept somebody around the area to know what was going on in sight. Cyclops got so much done there off the back of XSET just doing nothing. That's really what it was. They sat upstairs, they sat inside of open area. The entire site is empty, and I mean empty. Not any utility, no nothing at all. Cyclops, or rather XSET, thinking that Cyclops is going to try and go for a clear, but especially after that initial death as well as their initial Rotero drone, that was definitely not the case. So now for Cyclops, they'll pull ahead yet again here on the offensive side after XSET had caught up previously, but XSET still with an opportunity to tie things going into the second half.
The next set, to be honest with you, with the contentions they need for playoffs, that's perfectly okay for them here. If they can just teeter-totter back and forth and play for an overtime game, which, by the way, folks, if we end up in an overtime scenario in this matchup, by default, the playoff spot will go to XSET. So that's the other important factor in this.
Oh, well.
Because, like I said, more than 6 rounds.
Indeed. I mean,
for CIG.
Well, I mean, more than 6 rounds, yes, but that does mean if we go to overtime, then also no. It would be more point dependent, I bet. You might want to look into that.
No.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, all
if
right.
we end up in overtime, it's XSET.
Well, they would only have 6 rounds then. What happens if Cyclops wins 2 rounds and wins 8-6?
Still doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
Not enough points.
Just double checking. All right, 6-6. Okay, so that's what I was asking about. So it is point based there. Okay, awesome. So thank you for clearing that up, Jeff. I really do appreciate it. All right, so you guys heard it here first. Cyclops, if it does go to OT, they're done. They're dusted. APAC is out of the Charlotte Major. And now it's all off the back of the efforts of this offensive unit to see if they can potentially get this to a 4-2 scoreline. Black Ray will begin working his way through the top floor as Jackal. Prominent operator when it comes to clearing out buildings and trying to gather information. One of the mainstay bands inside of any ranked match, but one that we see quite often inside of competitive play, depending on the map as well, but obviously slipping through the cracks here for Bank. And honestly, one that we don't really tend to see him actually make it through on. He actually has a pretty decent ban rate when it comes to Bank. So, XSET though, Spirits initially will be inside of Teller's office, seeing potentially what he could do here. He's going to impact and
he really doesn't like that painting.
I think the painting literally ate all of the splash damage on that. That's so very unfortunate for him, as that's actually Spirit's last impact as well.
I mean, he could walk up and take it down.
If you really want shot in the face by the guy in lobby, you can.
Yeah, so more than likely he's going to be locked inside of that Teller's position now as a result of that small mistake. Not the end of the world here, just going to cost XSET a potential aggressive play. They're going to try to make from the inside of it. iGator going to pop open the hallway, though, and move forward here. The Osar shield prompting them to move even further forward, giving them a bit of a bunker to play with, and this will allow, of course, for their other teammate, Suzu, to work their way down through the main stairs here. Like this as well from Aniton, getting the intel on the player down below, dropping into it as well. Aniton's going to hard commit to this. They give it enough time to go for the swap due to that drone sitting just on the outside here, able to really get the intel as to how far back that player had fallen too. So Aniton now knows he's relatively safe in the elevator. He'll start peeking out, looking for more intel. Does have to duck back in as you guys saw that.
Clear shield is ready. What do we have here? Not here. Talent shield in position.
Attackers have located a bomb. Attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped. 15 seconds left. 10 seconds left.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you always ban Thatcher. We're back. Apologies for that quick technical difficulty. We did have an issue with the TeamSpeak going down for the teams, but it was decided after a quick deliberation with the admins that no competitive advantage was given through that. So the scores are going to stick. The game is currently at 3-3, and we're going to head back in game in just a second with those scores being locked in.
Yeah, so as soon as we get things going here, folks, we'll convert over to that. But as you said, it's a 3-3 score line right now, a dead heat, and we will be switching sides. So I guess we might as well break it down here at the half and kind of explain what the heck just happened past that little tidbit of thing, but whatever. Anyways, Cyclops had a pretty convincing half initially. XSET, though, battled back after Cyclops pick up 2 rounds to tie things up. Cyclops then are eventually able to take control as XSET just really not capable of locking things down inside of open area. It's just Cyclops simply walking into site and gathering control, or rather into tellers and archives, excuse me. And that's where we see Cyclops take their third. But XSET able to tie things up inside of that last round and the chaotic round that it was. And now that's how we've gotten here to round 7. XSET now on the offensive side of things. Habana out to play for Diaz instead of the Osa. We've already lost a drone, though. Here is Spirits' lost one inside of prep base, as well as Gomez, actually.
Yep. So things for XSET will continue to look promising here as they're able to keep their scoreline even after a little bit of a difficult start to this game at 0-2. For anyone who joined us there while we were on that technical break, you would have missed the opening few rounds, of course, where Cyclops had really a booming start to this one. A good strategical follow-up later on in the half as well. But now as they move into round number 7 here, they would drop one final one, as we saw in that previous round, to even out the scoreboard at 3-3 with XSET bouncing back and now on the attacking side, looking to take the lead away from Cyclops here. Keep in mind, folks, all XSET need to do is trigger overtime. If they get themselves to a 6th round here, even if they lose every single round past that point, they are still going to be in a winning position to try and move themselves through to the playoffs. Cyclops need the win outright and need as few rounds as possible from XSET on the board to make it realistic, and they can also get past Furia and make it through that way.
Yes, indeed, my friend. And now XSET with a minute off the board. They're looking at this top floor as of now for Spirits as he's simply playing the counter angles. Yaga now applying pressure via Janitor. He's going to skeleton key open CEO, but obviously no one home. It's going to be Nitro Cells from underneath to try and prevent XSET from taking control, but it's not going to stop really anybody. A repel still for XSET over towards the north windows, but we're really focused on Yaga and his capability with the skeleton key in the position they have now gathered for him. He'll begin breaking up the conference room, and Spirits with a loud cry of success as they'll take down one of the Cyclops members. But they'll fire back quickly as Gatarada will claim Kino. We'll end up on equal footing.
Looking to quickly push the pacing forward a little bit more here for Cyclops after that 1-to-1 exchange. Kino going down as he plays into the supportive role inside of this one here. So gonna be a little bit worse for wear in the later portion of this round, and more importantly is going to be missing that key utility that would have certainly been useful to try to breach their way through from square into the site. They do not have that anymore. Thankfully, however, they do still have Diaz on the Habana, so there's capability that she can pop those holes open, but obviously would have wanted to save that to be able to open up more avenues of attack. Not been able to do so this time around. And Nitro is thrown out, but it's a little off the mark.
Oh, wow.
The player Smashin thinks is doing it through the soft breach, actually, wall that leads out into the hallway. So very smart play there coming in from XSET to avoid the pitfalls of a Nitro toss-up.
I don't know if that Nitro was the one that got the hatch or was the skeleton key there. It might have just been on timing, but that's crazy if that's exactly how that worked out. Mute Jammer here for the drone hole for printers. They're going to have to try and figure out how to get rid of that if they want to find any extra information inside of that area. But past that, though, XSET starting to build towards a square take here. Spirits has actually worked his way into archives, and he's found himself a dead Aegator right through here inside of open area. Has a couple of other avenues he can potentially abuse. He'll hop up on the desk as Spirits starting to move forward, but underneath is yet another Cyclops member. Black Ray, now the only one up. Diaz will pick up a teammate and get the case and start the plant. He's got the overwatch with Diaz.
What?
A dead Cyclops member doesn't know where the plant's going down. Gatarada with an opportunity here, but won't be able to claim the first kill. But now he's got a little bit of time in order to play this out.
This is the problem I talked about earlier with Cyclops here. There's moments of brilliance inside of the intel game, and sometimes moments where things just don't go the way they need it to, but thankfully that piece of utility works out. Remember, if XSET gets far too adventurous, wanders directly into one of Gatarada's EDDs, and now brings us into a 1v1, tries to pre-fire, doesn't have the right position though, and has given away too much intel on the pre-fire, so instead we're going to see XSET close it down as they pick up yet another round and take the lead away from their opponents.
Claustrophobic instead of open area for XSET. They're both trying to operate around the same cubicle, and I don't know if you guys have an office job at home, but those things are quite tiny. Everyone trying to crouch around these cardboard box squares and bullets flying through the building all at the same time. Not exactly a fun round there for XSET, but they get the dirty work done. That's going to be another round for them on the board as they'll take the lead away from Cyclops finally.
XSET in control of this situation here. Gonna look to really try and push this one forward. 2 more rounds is all they realistically need, and their playoff slot will be locked in, and they'll be moving themselves forward here. So XSET getting themselves very, very close, being able to secure it, and Cyclops getting more and more scared as we get further into the game here. Like we said before, they've already lost 4 out of the potential 6 rounds that they can lose. to still give them their own playoff contention. That assumes that Cyclops win 4 rounds in a row, including this one. So now, with that being considered, the worst scoreline they can have in their next matchup, should they run the gauntlet and win this game 7-4 at this point, would be a 7-2 versus Fury. They will need that or better in order to make it through to the playoffs.
APAC hopes dwindling, but the candle has not been extinguished just yet. Cyclops playing a very difficult version of Survivor at the current moment. Gator, gonna see if he can potentially get some kills here. Already knew that this window was more than likely going to be open soon enough. That's why he's ripped the Nitro Cell preemptively so you don't hear the tape rip. But I believe he's now on cam, so that will indeed give Spirits a chance to actually hear him do that if he goes for it again. But instead, he's going to drop right off Banana and run inside of Teller's office. So he'll be able to stay alive. Gatorada assisting him as well with the cardiac sensor there, reading Spirit's location out towards the north end. Past that, though, Cyclops just playing this one pretty close to the chest. Don't have to worry about things too much yet, although XSET are starting to gather a decent amount of map control.
Gomez and the rest of XSET here proceeding so cautiously so as not to get tripped up any more of the aggressive positioning from Cyclops. They will have to look forward to it on the inside of the elevator banks, but not just from there either. They actually see the adventurous little yokai drone trying to work its way up through main stairs to do a bit of defensive-sided droning, but it will get caught in the midst of it. That's a very unfortunate catch, a big piece of utility now lost here. I'm going to assume that the second one should still be available for Anaton somewhere else across the map, whether he was keeping that one in the upstairs site connector locked away or just still somewhere else on the map. But anyway, we'll know that in time here as Gomez has cleared out Gator to some extent. He's put a good amount of pressure on him with the nades there, and that'll force him to play away from this position. And of course, you have Spirits helping out with this too. Now, re-entering this fray and also reading into these little punch holes here. He's going to catch Gatorada right in the center one, takes a guess, and it's the correct kill as he manages to strike true here for the side of XSET. He'll continue moving forward as well, saving his teammate along the way with that Adrenal Surge, bringing him back from the brink.
Yeah, Yaga got down via Nitro Cell, but Adrenal Surges can res from across the map, and now Yaga's back in business. That Skeleton Key continues to rip up the floor, and he's making new angles upon new angles that can potentially win them the round. More X-Kairos pellets down to get these hatches open as well. It was a good build up to this top floor take, but now they have to do all the boring aspects of Siege, like breaking down walls and hatches in order to get back to the fun part, the gunfights. Gomez now trying to peer into the actual site here. Nobody going to be inside a small office. An unfortunate drone will hop its way into the stream of bullets that he's launching into the cubicle of open area.
Spirits continues to position himself in a great spot to cut off any rotations that may be forced at a Cyclops to the mid-site. Not even going to need to follow that one through, though, as Gomez's nade takes care of it without a problem. Kino halfway through the plant. Spirits taking an even further position, getting himself a second kill on the round here. Blackgray running in, though, taking full control of Small. He battles back with 2 additional frags. Here's the problem, though. He's alone. He can only take 1 bullet here, and he still has 3 additional members of XSET to knock out. Such a tough battle, and he's not going to be able to win it as Diaz strikes true from XSET and wins out the round from them.
Cyclops have to close out this map and close out their game against Furia in 7-1 fashion at this point in order to make playoffs. And now, Cyclops, speaking of which, will indeed take a tactical timeout and discuss what their next move is going to be. If they did this, I'm not even kidding, it would be one of the best comebacks I've ever seen in my entire life when it comes to any esport. This would be absolutely incredible for them to shut down XSET right now and then run a 7-1 gauntlet up against Furia.
Especially with the way that Furia's been playing, too. We only managed to catch about half of their game so far, but man, the raw aggression that we have been seeing from time to time out of Furia is scary, to say the least.
Yeah, and that was a team that also, when we were talking about it, apologies, you were mentioning how they were a little bit slower than the rest of LATAM, but at this LAN, they have looked so dynamic in their play.
With the real capability to play into kind of both ends of that spectrum if they necessarily need to. So a real tough opponent for Cyclops ultimately as their final challenge to make it through. That's assuming, of course, they can get past XSET, which they have not been able to accomplish so far. XSET, in the meanwhile, they're just 1 round away from locking it in. They get up to 6, regardless of the rest of the outcome of this game, they will be going through to the playoffs.
Okay, XSET, can you close it out here? You get on to map and match point. Well, we'll have to find out. They're going through some different repicks as of right now. Lion, Sledge, and Osa will be brought to the table, at least for the time being. Cyclops on the top floor now, reinforcing a few of the walls out towards the certain side, the I do believe the east side, or actually the west side, I do believe here. As we finally get the compass back after our little ad, and yes, it is the west side. I always have to use the compass when it comes to that kind of stuff. So even the west-hand side of the main hallway on the top floor that they're going to reinforce. Those reinforcements matter quite a bit to that top floor, as usually you see the offense try and break those up with their hard breacher. That's why you got the mute jammers here, just to make sure that Diaz cannot pop those open immediately. It's going to require a little bit more effort from the offensive unit.
As well continue to evolve here for XSET as they look for a slow path towards the inside, but unfortunately it's going to cost them a player as they do it. Yaga, outwitted by Gatarada at the start of this game. He will knock him down, and better yet, he's already in prime position to get a second kill, but he notices that drone far too late. Gomez has got the intel, and he's got the marker to take down his opponent, which just smited his very own teammate. A 1-for-1 exchange will put us down into a 4v4 here, with XSET already taking some map control, as you can see from the basement, soon to extend into square.
Gomez will hold bottom blue for a time, knows that there's a potential rotate that could come out. You can practically call it the NA special at this point, as it seems like we always have a flank coming through blue stairs inevitably. Spirits will open up the top square door for his teammates in case anybody else wants to try and come in via that area. Spirits, though, will be holding onto the bottom square as of right now. About a minute in now, and things have only built up to this point. Not too much action across the board, minus Gatarada and Yaga going down. It's reached a low point here as XSET posture around the north windows.
And the rest of XSET getting themselves ready for the next fray of fights that'll be thrust upon them here, mainly from the Repel side. BlackRay wants to challenge it, and he knows he's got a player so close to him here around the corner, but just can't get him. He saw his back a second ago. There it is again. He'll take the fight, but the player is going to be a bit tricky. It's Gomez on the other side of it here. He shift repels to get himself away from that quickly and is able to dodge every single bullet from BlackRay. BlackRay, speaking of which, now has to hide back because it's Anaton's turn to play. He rolls out and is able to catch Spirits, eliminating the Finka from the XSET roster.
It's a really good thing he didn't jump there, because quite a few more bodies on the north windows than we initially saw, so he's able to keep his life on the top floor and complicate things for XSET, as they really need control of this at the current moment. And Spirits is gone, and it's really been the Spirit show so far here on Bank. 12-8 after that most recent death, and XSET now going to head towards the roof and try and rethink their overall strategy here. Gino's still on the line. He's still got an EE1D in his pocket as well, so this could be very helpful. Trying to collapse onto any Cyclops members, but they're definitely going to need some info game going here as well. EE1D out as Gomez will jump through a laser gate. Kino will pick up Hyagator, and now we're into the 3v3.
Even again between these two teams, the Cyclops fighting so hard just to get that singular kill, but unable to keep the advantage for very long. Or at the same time, Cyclops have still wasted out a good amount of the time back from this, and what a play from BlackRay as well. The soft breach potential there, sitting from the side. Diaz going to try to change up the fate of XSET inside of this run, but it's not looking good, to say the least, as Suzu has an easy final shot to close it down for Cyclops as they stay in the fight. They're not going to let XSET lock in their playoff contention just yet.
Well, into, I believe, a 5-4 score line. Just confirm, yes, indeed it will be. Cyclops now thinking about staff room and open area off the back of that. Very convincing early game there that ended up converting into quite the late round. Nothing really XSET could do, especially for that top floor. It was held extremely well. The window play not working out for XSET in the slightest. They inevitably go for a stock take instead, but Cyclops are good for that too. It was just a situation where XSET had to try and go for something, but it definitely did not work out in their favor.
All right, so XSET, a little bit of a tough position here now.
I love what we're seeing here, John. Instead of bringing the castle barricades, they're going to bring the, kite, oh my goodness gracious, the cap can. And they're actually going to put traps in a lot of these doors where you might want to go for like a rush play here. So they're going to have some very big damage that could potentially, honestly, maim a lot of these players. Whether it be a death or a down, it really doesn't matter. But CAG want that all the same.
It is important to note that this was also incorporated in the last open area defense too. And not only was it incorporated, but it worked. Gatarada was actually able to get 1 of 2 kills in a clutch with the EDDs. So hopefully XSET not going to be tripped up by it a second time, but you don't know, those tense scenarios, oftentimes looking at the downside of a door is the least of your concerns, and that could lead to some very dangerous situations here for XSET.
I guarantee you I can quote like 90% of the Siege community right now. Swings door in, clutch situation, door explodes, God, I hate Capcan. that is time and time again the things that I've heard throughout the years, especially early on when he wasn't really the greatest operator. If you guys didn't know, Capcan originally was an insta-death if you walked into his trap, but you could see them so blatantly because the drill actually extended through the door frame. You could see the screw.
Like the whole like frame that was like mounting the ADD device and all that.
Yeah, so I used to put them in the most dumb spots you potentially could where no one would even think to check, and then obviously someone waltzes into it and dies. But he's been changed time and time again throughout the years to the point where he is now, which is he has 5 traps and you can actually apply a multitude of them to the same door frame, which is actually really, really cool.
Obviously the case due to the fact that they only knock out, I believe, like 48 or 49 HP. You can stack them on top of each other and get a guaranteed down on a player with 2 of them chained together. In fact, that's what we tend to see now since there's still 5 in the kit for Gatorana or whoever might be playing it at the time. You usually stack 2 sets of 2 on 2 different doors and then just place the 5th one somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's with the Russian SMG as well, that has the 1.5. I mean, he's got a great kit nowadays. Has a nitro cell as a secondary as well, which is great. It makes my little Tier 1 Capcan heart just burst with love, let me tell you. But past that, though, we're about halfway through the round, and finally XSET will start working off of this pedestal that they've made for themselves upstairs. They'll be able to get Suzu out of play as Spirits continues his reign of terror, just spitting bullets at the CAG members. They know where another one is as well, and he continues to shoot a nade out. And can he get it? He can! Oh my God! Gatorana will go down as well. The LMG's just too strong. Finally, Cyclops get a body as Yogg goes down, but Spirits yet again a monster when it comes to bank.
This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, XSET only needed that 6th round to be able to lock in playoff contention here. Even if Cyclops run a comeback and win it in overtime at that point, it will not matter, as XSET will have enough points just because of the reduced point gain from Cyclops to be able to make it through. So just 2 kills separate them from an initial playoff after only forming this roster just a few months ago. What a story from XSET, and it's only just getting started here at Charlotte here, but they still need to pick up those 2 kills to lock it in. And they've only got 30 seconds to accomplish it, so let's see if they can fall down on top of Alligator as well as Anaton and get the job done to seal the deal for the playoffs here.
Oh, patience game now for Spirits. He needs to await the arrival of the remainder of the XSET team. Alligator does have a nitro cell to try and prevent any verticality inside of stock from being played, as Gomez will go down, but it's not been confirmed just yet. It's going to be Diaz to take down Anaton, a nitro cell out to take out Diaz, though. Very minimal time. Alligator, he can't get it, and that's going to be APAC out of Charlotte.
XSET are now locked in, regardless of the outcome of the rest of this match. They will be working their way forward. Pretty sure Bodega just calling that out as well. Not sure if they will reach that realization just yet. Might need to get that 1 extra round to really lock it in, but they should be good with all playoff contentions considered.
All right, new rule. You can't take XSET to bank because Spirits does way too much. I mean,
or you can, we got to ban Finka.
Yeah, or I mean, really anything. We saw the clip from him yesterday on defense where he killed 3 people through a wall as Vigil. So I honestly don't think it's up to the Finka. I think he's just nasty at the end of the day. And I mean, not to be NA biased, but I am very, very happy for these guys because they have been working day in and day out to achieve this, and to have every single representative that NA had at this LAN make it to the final stage, the playoff stage rather, is definitely something to be happy about. You know, TSM coming off of the SI 2022 dub, everyone was very high on NA and, you know, speculating what was going to happen here at Charlotte. What about these new teams? Were they really worth anything up against international competition? Well, we have our answer, folks. And, oh man, I'm going to be happy saying this. It's NA on top.
Both. I think all 4, right?
All 4.
All
That's
4
what I was
made
just
it
saying.
through.
And here's the best part.
XSET,
XSET, the only team in second.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Most of the NA teams topping out their group as well. Both of the brand new rosters as well working their way forward, with XSET being the only one to not take the first place position. It is a stunning group run here for North America, but oftentimes that switch up to best of 3s. It's important to remember that when we get ready to move into our playoff contention, that a lot of our teams are going to have to get ready for that switch up too. So that could still change things up as we get into the playoffs come Friday.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm more happy about NA being on top or the copium that Ace and Dez are going to have throughout the rest of this tournament. It's like, oh man, there's so many things to be happy about here. I got a big smile, and that's even past the day that we've had. I mean, we have just had so many crazy things happen on day 3 here in Charlotte. But fortunately enough, we still got some Siege to talk about, folks. Let's get back on topic here. Air jabs in play for Gomez. He'll be bringing the Nomad as XSET are looking to secure this 7th round and take the map away from Cyclops.
Yep, still need to lock down this game, of course, here, but like we said before, even if Cyclops run it back and we end up with an 8-6 scoreline, that still favors XSET on points at the end of the day, and I don't believe Furia have any capability to change that either from their own matchup. So XSET are secured, locked in, and we will have final confirmation of that in a little bit of time here. For the rest of XSET, they'll continue to move forward, look to get potentially this final execute done and dusted as they work their way into the basement. Entirety of the server wall has been left. Solves just a little bit of cleanup work here for Spirits to do, then they can go about and throw down the Osa shields here and start to line up for a plant.
Oh, Kino. Oh, he's locked up by Diaz. Oh, no. That was super close. Diaz's positioning there almost got Kino killed. That's one of those ones where you swing out with your friend and you try to get back out of the angle and you just die. It's so very scary there, and more than likely somebody's going to get yelled at if it does happen. But fortunately enough for them, they're able to keep Kino up. And fortunately, oh, actually, no, unfortunately enough, they don't have a Finka here, so they won't be able to give him any extra health.
Yeah, I don't think I brought in this time around, interestingly enough, for the XSET roster. We can see Diaz trying to
yes,
look
it's
for
still
a
it's still
position.
smoke,
He was
Diaz.
thinking maybe he could get a little bit closer to that and maybe sneak it down on the edge of the doorway, because you still want to kind of preset that one for the post plant. This one specifically here being done so for that, so Spirits is going to take up that position. They'll continue to move forward. I'll actually bash it too, so you can't see through it as easily. It'll kind of obscure the player behind it a little more, I believe is the intention behind that, with it getting smashed up.
Well, a possibility of a player dying pretty quickly here. Yaga, what a play! He gets into the top floor. Skeleton Keys open stock hatch, and he knows the players are around the area. A full stun. Yaga, he's got the overwatch here, but so does Black Ray with the Toxic Babes. He tosses him in. He gets the kill. Only 19 seconds remain, though. XSET, can they potentially get this? Yaga with a double kill. Suzu has to get back into play, but the plant hasn't been able to be secured yet either because Yaga's off on an island, and you can say the same for Gomez, but he's downstairs inside of server. It's going to be an air jab here. Knows one swing, able to get the kill. Where is the last member of Free Fire? And he's not going to peek it, but actually, he does. He does peek it on the right-hand side, but unfortunately enough for XSET, not able to get it done just yet. Cyclops will stop this match from ending for yet another round.
One more round to try and lock things in for them here as XSET looking to try and end this inside of regulation just to make the group statistics look a little bit cleaner for themselves if they can manage to get that done. Looks like we are going to pause here for a sec, guys, so stand by while we figure out exactly what that is going to be for. And it's looking like a tactical pause coming in from XSET. Indeed, that is the case here. XSET still taking this game very seriously, so I'm going to assume it's not fully set in yet that they are secured, but still.
I mean, honestly, I think that they know, because Bodega,
he was pretty happy after that last round.
And even when they called the tack timeout, like he still kind of had a little bit of a smirk. You know, and honestly, Bodega's story has been something that's been absolutely incredible to follow as well, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of NA thought he was fraudulent coming in. They really, really did, and they've proven a lot here.
He talked a lot.
He did. He did.
He talked a big game.
You know what does matter, though? If you can walk the walk, and he absolutely can. And that's the big thing here. I have a lot of respect for him at the current moment, and I'm hoping that XSET can continue their warpath into playoffs and potentially give a good show to the NA audience.
All right, let's see if they can follow through with the regulation victory, or if we're going to have to go into overtime to get our final score from this game. The important part has been figured out, but we still want to see the outcome of this matchup. And important to note, too, our last game, actually, is still going to be played as well. So make sure you're sticking around for that if you want to root for Fury and whatnot to see how they will try to blow out of the tournament here. As unfortunately for them and Cyclops, that is more than likely going to lock in their elimination as well, with XSET being secured.
It is indeed done, my friend. I can actually give you the list, if you would like it, of everybody that has indeed made it.
Oh, yeah. It's a good time for that while we're in prep phase. So go ahead and rattle down the list real quick.
All right, so we got Oxygen, Astralis, Team BDS, Dark Zero, G2 Esports, Team Liquid, Team One, and XSET.
2 representatives from Europe, 2 representatives from Latin, and 4 from NA?
Yeah.
I like those odds.
I like those odds a lot. I like those. If I was a betting man, I'd take those odds.
We'll have to see how it plays out, of course, as we get towards the weekend. Big shout out to those of you who have already arrived in Charlotte or are on the way. We cannot wait to see you at some point over the next few days here. So make sure, once again, you get yourselves ready, as we've got a lot of great matches coming over the next 3 to 4 days here. Spirits lining up for the initial entry work, just trying to suss out the member of Cyclops hiding out over there by Banana, but I believe that player's already been dealt with. Alligator found out by Gomez instead of Spirits here to already give XSET the early 5v4 advantage. I'll correct myself, Black Ray actually still hiding out over here, but he's just fallen a little bit further back, deeper into the site.
Well, now that it's over, you actually hop the window, right? That's what happens now. We jump outside and we fight XSET. They'll never be ready for it. But fortunately enough, Black Ray not feeling the same energy that I am at the current moment. I'm a little bit more aggressive sometimes, you could say. We're going to have the hologram come out here for Black Ray to try and assist with some info game if they do end up tagging that up. But, I mean, Yaga's already got a drone up here, so he's going to be able to mark out that member and potentially get a frag grenade up in there as well. Oh, my. So close to Black Ray. He's going to hop out. But, oh, it's actually going to deal some damage to him. The beeper's going off as well. They'll know he's inside of the quad window here. And a nade out again. And what did I say? That beeper goes off and the nade delivers.
Takes him down with the second one as well, just for good measure here, and a little woo from Spirits, as we've been hearing him pop off with those every time he gets a kill, pretty much. It's nicely done. As they set up the 5v3, half the round gone, so could make an argument to the fact that Cyclops is baiting out a bit of time, but I think XSET are a little less than worried about that.
The plant's going down in the
already
smoke.
Inside of the site. In the meanwhile, they have made the hop with 2 players, and Yaga is also cleaning up from another angle here. Kino's been able to secure the plant. Alligator and Garen are rotating, and what a snapshot from Anaton, though, taking out not just 1, but 2 players here. Gatorada also trying to contribute into this as Cyclops not done fighting just yet, and keep in mind, Anaton just did that on a clash, mind you. Spirits, though, making quick work of Gatorada over at top square, leaving Anaton alone, and not for too long. Diaz will comfort him, as unfortunately for Cyclops, they are going to be knocked out, and it is XSET representing the set inside of the playoffs as they will close out this matchup 7-5.
NT to Cyclops. It was a valiant effort, but XSET able to shut it down. And honestly, during that last stint, I thought the Wamai got that flick to the actual skylight,
yeah,
but instead, the clash doing a little bit there. Gatorada trying to pick up the pieces, but simply could not get it done. Congratulations to our mostly Brazilian NA squad, XSET, as they have guaranteed themselves playoffs in Charlotte, as well as all North American representatives making it to the playoffs.
Big shout out to these guys as well as Astralis. These rosters being a relative, or rather more so XSET, relatively recently formed roster coming into this one, getting themselves together just 2 months ago, but already major playoff worthy. What an achievement here on top of their already very impressive stage inside of the NAL.
Absolutely the case, my friend. It's been quite the journey, as we kind of touch on inside of the game for them. So extremely happy for them, and can't wait to see what they can do in the playoff stage in front of everyone at home at the current moment. Some of you more than likely already in Charlotte watching this on your laptop or your TV or whatever in your hotel room. We're excited to have all of you in the venue come Friday, but don't go anywhere. Just have another game coming up pretty soon. But John, anything else you want to say about this matchup?
Not much. We got more, however, after this break. So stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll be breaking this game down and getting you ready for the final game of the groups.
Let's shine again. What in the... Come on, lad. Can I learn this with you? Can I see? I'll just be a minute. Where'd I leave my caber?
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Charlotte Major, where we just witnessed XSET confirming their second seed position inside of the final group, where we didn't have the final two teams locked down. That means we have also locked in, unfortunately for their fans, the elimination of both Furia as well as Cyclops here, as we take another look at the replays from that very fantastic game on Bank.
So sorry about that, everyone. As we really wish APAC could have made it through, but unfortunately enough for everyone at home, and specifically Dev Marta, it just does not work out at the end of the day. Cyclops cannot get it done up against XSET, and now our last team, or last match rather, being Cyclops versus Furia, doesn't have nearly as much water to hold the weight.
Yep, still possibility for teams to play in for higher group seedings, I think is going to lead to a slightly higher overall tournament finish as well there.
Some SI points more than likely at play as well.
Yep, obviously you'd have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure as well. Maybe a slight boost to the prize pool. That's all they're really going to be fighting for at this point. No longer a possibility for either one of them to make it outside of their group. However, this is as far as they are going to go, so commiserations indeed, but still want to make sure we give them a chance to give us a good match. Of course, we'll be focusing up on that one in just a little bit. XSET, though, once again, and Diaz specifically bringing a huge amount of prowess to the table. Talking about Diaz as well, but man, once again, Spirits also just absolutely thrashing those defensive setups time and time again on Finca.
Yeah, I mean, even past that, look at Diaz here. 100% cost, but 8 and 7. That is what you want out of your teammate. Making it time and time again a positive round for XSET and taking it to Cyclops. Pretty big back and forth there, at least initially, but then XSET run it up on Cyclops. A little hard, but past that, unfortunate day here for Cyclops given the moment.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate given the fact that they were just so close from being able to make it. They had a really tough contention factor to be able to actually make it through and make it out of this position too, so had a lot of work to do for those guys and just weren't able to bring it to bear. So not going to be able to see them work their way through. XSET does make their way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we can take a look at the standings for that group so you can have it confirmed for yourselves that indeed XSET has locked their way forward. Here's the scores for you just to lock it in. 12 points for both Team Liquid and XSET. As you will notice, Team Liquid is still going to be secured in first place despite tying now with XSET. That is due to the round differential, which is how we decide how these tiebreakers are broken. Liquid sits at plus 12, so they will take first place. XSET going to finish off at positive 5. For Furia as well as CAG, there is no catching that 12-point marker, so we are going to lock those two teams in.
Whoever is doing this, I don't like you that much right now. I'm not looking at the screens.
Audience just has no idea, of course.
Someone has just zoomed into Parker's face on another screen for us. It's mildly distracting. I'm just kidding. But anyways, guys, honestly, it was fantastic having Cyclops here and being able to witness this team from Japan once again. They're always such a fantastic time to watch. I'm very sad we didn't get to cast the Monty XSET. How dare you? I'm very mad about that. I mean, but past that, though, we really appreciate all of the APAC love, the APAC fans and what they provide to the events like this. So pretty unfortunate we won't have you guys around for the playoff stage, but hopefully you guys still tune in and enjoy some fantastic Siege.
Absolutely the case, guys. And we still have one final match. No playoff contentions for it, but still some good Siege. So stick with us here. We're going to go to a short break. And when we do return, we'll have the final match of the groups ready to play out between Furia and Cyclops here at the Charlotte Major.